the stream begins. Right. So, a couple of notes. First of all, trying something different with the lighting today. I think I still haven't nailed it. Usually I have the ceiling lights on in this room, which are really just freakishly bright. And I think they're a little too bright and they kind of wash me out a little bit. So today I'm just using my ring light. I just have one ring light and I think it's a little bit too far away to be bright enough, but I'm trying it out. I'll take a look at the footage later and see, I'm gonna keep tweaking it. I'm gonna keep working on that. So hopefully the quality of my webcam isn't too bad, but since I'm just in a corner of the video anyway, I think it should probably be fine. Second thing is, instead of just playing a game today, which is what I normally do, I normally just kind of play a game and hang out and chat with people. Instead of that, I'm going to analyze a game today. So this is a game I have played through most of already. I haven't finished it, but I think I got pretty close to the end. The developer for this game is made by M9 Games. Contacted me by email. They found my channel. They watched some of my videos. I haven't made any of those in a while. And wrote me a nice email saying that they like my videos and would I like to try out their game, which, politely, professionally, not just unsolicitedly sending me a game key, which I would have ignored. And I thought, man, I haven't played a new escape room game in a while. That sounds fun. So I said yes, and I accepted the key, and I played through it. And as I was playing it, there's just a lot of game design stuff that I wanted to talk about. And I thought, rather than make a video about that, which would take a really long time, and I'm already still working on another video, and I don't need to keep adding new projects on top of other projects, why don't I just stream it instead, and I'll just talk as I play. I'm not going to play through the whole thing. I'll go as far as I feel like I can go, up to 2 hours, but likely less than 2 hours today, actually, because I'm having a bad nerve pain day. Not fun, but I'll go as long as I can. So this is Vereda. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, but that's how I'm reading it. And it is a virtual escape room type game with sort of logic puzzles and stuff. It is not this developer's first game. I looked on their Steam thing, and they have a handful of other similar style type of games, which I may take a look at later. This is available now. You can get it if you are interested. I won't play through the whole thing, so it won't be all spoiled or anything like that. And I think let's just get in here. I think, by the way, I suspect that this may be made by a single developer. The email was written to me by someone who kept saying I, referring first person singular pronoun I, rather than we when talking about making the game, which implies that maybe one person made it. So obviously we'll keep that in mind. One person is never going to be very good at everything and every aspect of making a game. So I'm going to hit new game. So this is the one that I started. We'll just start a new empty one. Let the intro sequence play out. Stuck on my hard candy. No narration or anything. I think it's just text on the screen. Having received instructions to your next mission, you drive into town to the designated rendezvous point. Mission sounded simple. However, you know all too well that undercover operations like this are never that easy. You quickly arrive at your new undercover location, finding the mission brief in your room. So, little pre-programmed sequence here, a little cutscene. You're driving a car through some little alley, and then you come out in this room here. So, the first thing that I noticed is that they've wrapped the escape room puzzles in not quite a narrative, but more of just sort of a theme. The theme is that you're an undercover agent trying to get a document. Which is fine. This is a really common thing in these types of games where... Oh, my chair is extra squeaky today. I'm so sorry, folks. It's a really common thing in these virtual escape room games where there's sort of a theme, and they've kind of tried to put a story on it, but the story doesn't integrate in any way, shape, or form with the puzzles themselves. So there's no reason for most of these puzzles to be here. They're just placed there as obstacles to you escaping the room. And this is a little bit of personal preference here, but I'm perfectly fine with the game just being a series of puzzles, in which case you don't have to have a narrative on it. And you can just be like, I have a bunch of puzzles I want to make. Build a room, build the puzzles. There's the locked door, good luck. And I don't need a reason. I'll solve those puzzles. I love logic puzzles. It's great. On the other hand, I really love it when there's an actual narrative and the puzzles are integrated with the narrative, which, to be fair, is a very difficult thing to do and to do well. When I made my first escape room map, Minecraft escape room map, the Cryo Lab, which you can get on Planet Minecraft. I spent a lot of time integrating the puzzle solutions with the narrative so that every puzzle that was there had a reason within the story to be there and wasn't just a puzzle I felt like making. And every hint and every clue to solve those puzzles made sense within that narrative. Like there was a reason why the clue was there. It wasn't just like a password scrawled on the wall or something for no reason, which is a very common thing in these games. So this game really does more of the classic, you're a detective, get the document, and here's a bunch of puzzles for no reason. And they kind of try to integrate it with the story, but it's more like, here's the puzzles, and then separately, here's some documents that give you a little bit of theme as to why you're here. So, yes, they're kind of in the middle somewhere. So we can walk around the room. As you can see, it's very clear what you can interact with, and some people might not enjoy having everything be so glaringly obvious, but I'll be honest, I don't like the pixel hunting, and I'm kind of fine with it being very clear what you need to interact with. So let's walk up. We've got a piece of paper here. We just click it. As an experienced undercover agent, you have been assigned a room near the location of the dossier we would like you to try to recover. The dossier in question is located in a building further into town. I cannot give you much more information than this, as details are unclear due to the unique situation you find yourself in. To prepare you for what is to come, we have primed your room with a small training exercise. You'll have to simply decipher how to leave your room. Once you have done this, you will be ready to complete your main mission objective. Good luck. So this is a pretty good setup into, like, here's the reason you're here, here's who you are, here's what your goal is, and here's why you have these random puzzles in front of you. And it starts out really strong in that sense, but in later levels, this kind of gets abandoned. So that's kind of a shame. Again, I understand, drawer is jammed shut, okay. Can't open this, we know why, we need to find something to unjam this drawer. Good signposting, good signal there. This case is locked, okay, so clearly we're going to need some kind of key. There's no way to interact with it other than clicking on that thing, so we know we don't have to spend time faffing about with, you know, messing with clips and stuff like that. Come over here, we've got another piece of paper. The Gregorian calendar consists of the following months: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, November, December. And clever, careful readers or listeners will note there's a month missing there. So that's probably important, right? You can look here. We've got just a keyboard. And this is right next to the paper, so I'm going to try typing in the missing month. October. And there we go. So that's very simple, very easy. This is the first room, so that's not a bad thing. That we have it, you know, very clear what you need to do. Getting you accustomed to the interface, getting you accustomed to how the clues will work, that's all great. New inventory, keypad button. This is less great. There's a bit of a missing texture on the button. Oh, it's twisting. I think I need to unplug my gamepad. This problem before. PlayStation gamepad does not play nice with all games. That fixed it. So I have a keypad button. Don't know what that's for. Door is locked. We've got another thing over here. W plus E. Don't really know what that is. Back. By the way, I appreciate there's a reset button here, very clearly visible, and there's right-click back. That's just very convenient. I've played these escape room / puzzle box type games where you had to hit like the escape key on the keyboard to leave something, or you had to physically move your mouse to a button to click back. That's way more convenient to have just right-click to go back. So, like that a lot. Obviously, we know what's going to happen here. Door's locked. Gotta try. Interact with this. Aha, there's a crowbar underneath. Yeah, and that fixed the rotate problem. So we've got a crowbar. The only problem with something like this is because there's so little to interact with in the room, it's really obvious what you need to do here. So this is sort of the downside to having everything clearly laid out. When we're solving logic puzzles, and the puzzle is taking the clues and information and deducing something from it, this is great. But when it's find something in the environment, and there's a big circle on it with a lightning bolt on it, is not really much of a puzzle or a challenge. So the crowbar is probably going to be for the thing that was jammed shut, but let's just take a look at what's here. The box is locked. This here, keypad button. We have some letters, but we don't have any clue to what to do with this, so back over here. Open this drawer with the crowbar. So, one thing that could have been done better here would be to signal more clearly that I used the crowbar for this. I don't necessarily expect an animation, especially if this is by one person. That's a lot of effort to put in. But even just a text box popping up that says, you used the crowbar to open the drawer. Because there were a couple of places where I used an item to open something without realizing that I'd used the item, realizing that it had been, clear signposting would be better. So in here we have a piece of paper. Early number. I'm going to do that again. Let's take that one from the top. Early number systems all have one thing in common. They require someone to write down many symbols to record a single number and create new symbols for each larger number. And we have I lost my cursor here, but at the top we've got a graphic, some blocks with letters and numbers on them, and at the bottom we have a series of numbers 5, 14, 9, 7, 13, 1. So when I first encountered this puzzle, the majority of this piece of paper is just a red herring. The graphic and the text have nothing to do with the clue here, and I found that a little bit counterintuitive. Most of the information you'll find in this game is necessary for solving the puzzle. It's not necessarily a bad thing that you've got some red herrings to just kind of add an extra layer onto it, but it really took me a lot longer than should have for me to understand what I was supposed to do here, and that is ignore the image. The image is probably just a bit of clip art that they found. I was trying to calculate stuff with the letters and the numbers that are on the blocks. There's like 2 CD, BA, B, Y, and there's a 3 on top of that. I was like, what is this text about? Is it a riddle? Early number systems? What? Having to create or figure out an entirely new number system. And I've played games where you do have to. The Cyan games, Riven has an entire different number system that you have to figure out how it works in order to solve a puzzle. And Abduction, also from Cyan, also had entirely different number system that you had to figure out. So that really sent me off on a wild goose chase. But really all that it is the most basic numbers to letters. So, and I don't... Paper that... Hold on a second. Let me grab my paper. Wrote my notes on when I played this before so I don't have to redo it all. 1 second. All right, I've got it. So, I have the whole alphabet written out here. It's just much easier. So 5 is E, 14 is N, 9 is I, 7 is G, 13 is M, and 1 is A. It's just the standard 26 numbers, 26 letters in the English alphabet. It's Enigma is the answer. So where did we have a keypad? That's here. We can just type out Enigma. Box is open. Now we've got another piece of paper, another clue. North, 19,827. And then on the west, we have 42,000. East, we have 513. And south, we have 472. So if you remember, one more puzzle over here. W plus E, presumably west plus east. That's a very simple calculation. 42, 513. Exactly the right number of digits here. There we go. Very simple, not complicated. This is the first room in the game. I think that's a perfectly fine puzzle. All key in inventory. Now, that's not going to go to this door over here. That's going to go. We've got one more thing that's locked over here. We've got this briefcase. And that's also got another key. The key to the door. Now, there's all this other information in here that we can't look at, and I think that's kind of a shame. Can we? Hold on. Seemed like it popped up there for a second. Can't jump or anything. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Okay. That was, that's something that could be tweaked a little bit. That's something that probably you would want to catch in playtesting, is, situations like that where it's a little glitchy, and you have to be standing in just the right spot to hit it. So, the document says, "Congratulations on getting this far. We knew you could do it. You now have the knowledge to complete the rest of the mission. Here is the last known image of the dossier we wish you to recover. Head north into town and begin tracking down the warehouse we believe the dossier is hidden in. Once found, we will send an extraction team to your GPS location. Luck. Okay. So far, basically so far so good. The interface is a little bit clunky, but again, I do believe this is made by one person, and it's pretty rare for somebody to be able to design puzzles, write, and code, and use, I believe this is made in Unity. So I'm not going to hold that against them. As long as the puzzles work and the narrative works, we're happy. So we're going to go out the door. Again, does not tell me that it used the key, and I wish it would. And we're going to step into the darkness of the everlasting void. Perhaps the abyss will stare back into me. Okay, and that teleports you outside. Can't go in. This is one thing I'm not a fan of in this game. It's a minor gripe, because that's not what the game is about, but there are stairs all over the place, and you can't walk up them. Stairs are a barrier here. You can't go up the stairs. If you're gonna have stairs not be walkable, just don't have stairs. It's such a weird and unintuitive thing to have. Alright, so we're out in this back alley, and we've had a little bit of a narrative setup. We're some kind of spy or agent trying to get a dossier somewhere, and we're in a weird situation, and that's kind of all we know. And now we're here, and we don't really have any information about where else we're trying to go or what we're trying to do. Now, we can figure out that we need to, get the locked doors open and move on to the next place. But this is where the game starts to kind of lose track of its narrative, and you start to see puzzles that really have no business being there and no reason to work the way they do. And at this point, the game just kind of becomes more or less a series of random, mostly logic puzzles, which is not inherently a bad thing. But I think it's a shame that it started with trying to tie it together with a narrative, and then it kind of falls apart a little bit in that sense. We'll walk up to what we have here. Got the gears. We still have these icons on stuff that you can look at. This is locked. It's got wires going this way, going down, connected to the bench, which for some reason there's a series of weighted boxes on. So I think it's pretty easy to determine what you need to do here. But when I saw this, I kind of was a little bit disappointed, because it was like, oh, okay, so we're not doing a story anymore. we just have random puzzles. There's no reason why anyone would leave this here under any circumstances. So we have 250 grams is the first one. There's 12 pounds, 15 kilograms, 1.2 kilograms, 12 ounces. So this requires you to have outside information. And this is one of the first major critiques that I would have of this game, and not only this game. I don't want to call out one particular developer, because this is a really common issue in these, is puzzles that require outside knowledge to solve. So the developer making this assumes that the average person will have this knowledge or be able to find it. There's any number of reasons why that could be difficult. Someone might not even know what LBS means if they're not from a place where they've ever seen pounds abbreviated in that way, or OZ being ounces, for example. It can be very confusing and counterintuitive if someone's not familiar with all of these terms, and it could be a little frustrating if they think that the answer is supposed to be here somewhere. So my rule of thumb, if you're creating a puzzle in a game, at all times, in all situations, make sure everything you need to know to solve the puzzle is available in the game somewhere. So, for example, if you wanted to make this puzzle, you could just have a book somewhere that's, a catalog of weights and measures or something like that. The person could go, oh, somebody left a book here. There's no reason for the book to be here, but there's no reason for this puzzle to be here anyway. So they find the book, they open it up, and it says, 1 pound equals this many kilograms, this many ounces equals this many pounds. And then they could work it out for themselves without having to tab out of the game, if they're not already familiar with these weights and measurements, and do research with Google or whatever. You don't want someone to have to leave your game in order to finish your game. So, and this is a problem. This is a mistake that I've made in the past as well. I did in the mini ARG I did in 2020, the Adventure X Game Jam. Most of the puzzles that I put in that ARG were just pure logic puzzles. Oh, thanks for the follow, KJs. They were just basic logic puzzles. that all the information you would need to solve them was in documents that were part of the ARG. But I did put one puzzle in there that required external information. It required you to find information about types of airplanes. The reason I put that puzzle in there is because one of the solutions to one of the puzzles lined up really, really nicely with a real-world fact about a type of airplane, and I thought, oh, this is really easy information to find. The average person might not know it, but if they Google a specific phrase, which is very clearly hinted at in the documentation, the very first result that comes up is this answer. Or so I thought. Problem with that is that your search results are, broadly speaking, tailored to you, especially if you're using something like Google. So when I put the puzzle out there, hey Tanchi, when I put the puzzle out there, the manager of the Game Jam, which is Alistair Beckett-King, comedian from the UK and also game developer, which is an awesome combination. Love him very much. Look him up if you haven't. He sent me a private message on Twitter saying, I really like your game, but I'm totally stuck on this first one. I can't figure it out. And I explained, oh, you just search this phrase and it'll be the first result. And he said, I tried that. And then he showed me his search results and it was nowhere on there. And it depends on what you searched for in the past, basically. And he told me that he had also made that mistake when designing a totally different game in the past, where search results were what was necessary to solve the puzzle, and it didn't work, and people got stuck. So that was an important lesson for me to learn, and I want to pass that on to anyone else designing a game. Always make sure that everything you need to solve the game is available in the game. Whatever you have to do to make that happen. So, since the lightest box, 250 grams, is on the left here, we can guess here that and this is also an issue that you might have caught during playtesting, that the boxes can be blocked. Simply putting them up on top of a raised platform would solve that. Well, this is what, 12 pounds? That's going to go there. Hold on, I'm going to do this one first because it's the tiniest box. There we go. Those are in order, and now this has just popped open. So again, why? Why? My question is why. Perfectly fine on its own as a logic puzzle, as long as the information is given to how to solve it. But if you're trying to wrap it in a narrative, this doesn't make any sense to exist in the world. So we've got a lever, okay? This looks like you can click on it to read it, but no, okay. It says, sine wave is a geometric waveform that oscillates. A sine wave shows how the amplitude of a variable changes with time. Text is really quite difficult. So we'll come back to that as a clue. So we saw over here, there is a bunch of these, and it wouldn't let me do this before. I didn't actually show this on camera. I did try this when I played it before. If you click on this before you have the lever, it just says something's missing, so you can't do it. So it's very clear what you have to do first, which is good. So we get that lever in there. So now we can put these in any one of 3 positions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we only have 1 clue. So it's not too tough to figure out what we need to do here. And if we look carefully, 6 of these are filled in. And they are up, up, down, down. Here, this is a good example of having all the information you need to solve the puzzle available in the game. That opened the door. What have we got in here? We have got another puzzle. Now again, makes absolutely no sense there be this weird keypad puzzle on the side of a rusty old bin outside. Just so you can't get in there. The blocking in this game is a little bit odd. There's a lot of areas where it looks like you should be able to go, but you can't. Like, you know, upstairs, which you can. In case anyone missed that. You can't walk upstairs. So, such an odd choice. So, we go in here. We're going to design this. Okay. Oh, so some of these can't be turned. Oh, just the ones here, I guess. It's pretty easy to deduce, I would say, from looking at this, that you want to connect the 2 dots here. And we've got arrows here that are showing the direction things move in. Perfectly fine. Don't have any issue with it. Very easy puzzle. And got a gate key. Got the gate key. There's another void in there. Try staring into that for a while, but... also, just the location. I've seen quite a few games that have this very specific aesthetic, and I don't know if it's as simple as like, are these default assets available in Unity or something like that, or available for free somewhere. But there's just all these like broken down. Everything looks very rusted out and old and unmaintained. There's no people here, and just sort of in this abandoned city. Again, no prompt comes up saying that you use the key to open the gate. I would like to see that added. We'll move on to the next section. So, some text written on the walls. The end approaches 21st May 2026. Okay. Got event with some steam. Little effects there. Very nice. Actually looks pretty good. Got posters on the wall, and they appear to be French. All the signs are in English. Bar, we are open 24/7. Bistro. Bar. Back press. So this is all and as we, this is another issue here. I encountered this last time as well. Very easy to get stuck on some of the landscape. That's something that would be great if that could be tweaked during playtesting to make sure that you can easily get to everywhere you want to get to. But as we approach anything interactable, we see a little gear. A switch is missing. Can't do this without a switch. Okay, no problem. Obviously the gate is locked. Door here, again, I can't step up, and to be clear, there is no jump button, so you just have to find an area where you can walk up. Got a keypad here, button is missing. Interestingly, the number is there, but only the little button is missing. Here, there's inexplicably a box on the ground, and we've got AKJ102Q. And I think that's all that's interactable. So when I got to this bit, I got stuck for a little while. Because I couldn't figure out, I could tell that this was the puzzle that I had to solve, but I couldn't figure out where the clue was. And it turns out the clue was on the box itself. If you look here, and it is quite difficult to see. It is partially obscured by the button here. And it is quite low contrast. I have pretty good color vision, but I was playing this with Flux turned all the way up. I was playing it at night. Flux, if you don't know, is a program you can put on your computer that just takes all the blue light out of the screen at night so that you're not kept awake late at night by bright blue light, which is very bad for you to look at before bed. And it actually made this very, very difficult to see. It didn't stand out very much at all. I imagine a colorblind player, depending on the type of colorblindness, might also have trouble seeing this. Once I saw this, which if you can't make it out, is card suits. So we've got a diamond, club, heart, and spade printed onto the box. And once you see that, aha, okay. Card suits, these are the names of cards. Ace, king, jack, 10, 2, queen. So this is, again, an issue where outside knowledge is required. It's mostly broadly available where I'm from. And I believe the game developer is based in the UK, where this would probably also be broadly available. However, in a lot of countries, these are not standard cards, and this would not necessarily be very meaningful. So, now some streamers with different vision. Yeah, there's colorblindness is really common. So, yeah. Total black and white vision is very rare, but it does exist. And red-green, the two types of red-green colorblindness are extremely common, especially among male AMAB people. I think it's like one in 10 or something. It's really quite a high percentage. So whenever you're designing a game, if you're not colorblind, it can be easy to forget about accessibility. But that's a really huge percentage of people who might struggle with this puzzle simply because this just doesn't stand out very well. There's lots of tools available online where you can check images and stuff for colorblind, like what they would look like to different types of colorblindness. Use them. It's worth doing because you don't want a player to get this far into the game and then get totally stuck because of something that's beyond their control. The other problem with this is it doesn't tell you what order to put them in. The obvious choice would be to put them in order, ascending order. That was my first choice. So if I go 2, Jack, or 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, nothing. So this is the problem with using cards, right? Because Ace is both high and low. So you have to do ace, 2, and jack, king. Depending on the games that someone plays with cards, it may not even occur to them that ace could be low, and they might think they're solving the puzzle wrong. So this one really required a little bit too much outside information, and it requires color vision. But we've got a circular button. We saw a place with a missing button over here. So we'll go up here, add it. Apparently I'm an electrical engineer, and I know how to install buttons on keypads, no problem. We've got 8 digits. We need an 8-digit number. Now this is this puzzle also has a pretty significant issue. Become clear in a moment. We need to find a clue for an 8-digit number. So I'm looking at all the signs. 24/7, that's not really much. 8 to 6, we've got these symbols, but that doesn't seem to be related to that one. And in fact, we saw those symbols over here. And we've got text. So the only place where we've got what could be an 8-digit number is here on the sign on the wall, 21st May, 2026. So if you're from America, I've lived in Europe for a long time, so my instinct is to put things day, month, year. But an American would probably put this in as yes, I've already forgotten it. I'm terrible at remembering numbers. 21st May. So May is 5. 05/21, 2026. We put that in. Wrong. Because this game was made in Europe by a European who either was not aware that months and dates are written in a different order in different countries, or just didn't account for it or forgot. We have to do is we have to put in 05/6, and then it works. So this one, again, it's a regional thing. And whenever you're making a game that you're going to be putting on Steam, which has a very international audience, you want to try to find playtesters from different regions, because especially with a game like this, where outside knowledge is required for it, you really want to make sure that you don't forget about something like that. This could have been solved very simply by allowing both orders. That's all you would have to do. And then it would be fine. So we got the switch, which clearly goes over here. Get up on the dang sidewalk. That goes in there. We've got 3 switches, and they have these symbols, which we have seen around. The door here, we had this asterisk, 1 asterisk. Here we've got 2 of sort of plus sign shaped stars, and then over here we've got 3 sort of explosions. 1, 2, 3, asterisk plus explosion. Pretty simple. Well, that was a great puzzle. That's perfect. It doesn't require language. It doesn't require anything regional. It doesn't require math. Nobody likes math. That's not true. A lot of people do like math. I don't like math. The clues were available in the environment. They were not simply written on a piece of paper on the ground or something. You really had to walk around and find them. It's a small area, so it was quite simple to do, but that's a well-designed little puzzle. Now we can move into the area. Spectacular. This area, looking for our interactable buttons, right? Because we know we can't interact with anything that doesn't have a button. Can't walk up the dang stairs, which is especially ridiculous now because we have to go to this keypad, which we can still click. But all we have here, the 4-digit number. Okay? And it's a small area. And it's the only puzzle, right? So we're looking for some kind of clue somewhere. What I would do for this one, because there's only one puzzle here, rather than segment it off into its own area, what I would have done personally is I would have put the keypad out here. Have this door be out here, so it's a door you can access, but you don't know what the clue is. And then by opening this gate, what you do is you open the way to find the clue. Rather than have it all by itself over here, it just feels a little bit like the pacing is a little bit off. It's a minor gripe. So the only text that I see that looks like a clue is on the door here. We've got a hashtag, a triangle, some slashes, and an X. And this is just a pure, you got to think about it, and you either get it or you don't. But I did this by counting the number of lines in each of these, which I believe is the solution. So this is 4 lines, this is 3, this is 2, this is 2. I think it's 4, 3, 2, 2. It is, and it just teleports us into the next area. Okay, so this area is where I started to get a little bit frustrated. Previous area, the narrative fell apart, but at least the puzzles were mostly fine. In this one, the puzzles started to get a little bit... So this is locked. Okay. This painting here, photo, which pulls down to reveal this. A gear is missing. Okay, can't do that. Then over here, nothing. Over here, locked. Of course it is. It's an escape the room. And then we've got a keypad with the full alphabet. 6 letters. And here, got a safe. And remember what I said about colorblindness. This particular puzzle not only is color-based, but these colors are very similar. Anyone with any degree of colorblindness is probably not even going to be able to distinguish some of these, let alone be able to find where the clue is to solve it. And as a matter of fact, is there anything here? A bunch of stuff we can't really interact with. When I did this, again, I had Flux running. So some of my colors on my screen were not clearly visible. And I had to brute force this. I was not able to figure out the solution. And the colors we have are kind of pastels. Again, I do have very good color vision, so I can distinguish those all pretty clearly. And if we look around the room, I believe the clue is this painting, right? Which, again, is a little bit misleading because you can click the painting to reveal something else. However, colors... I tried every combination I could think of these colors, and it didn't work. We've got like a lime green, sort of salmon pinkish, a darker green or bluish, and yellow with a red stripe on it. We try like green, pink, green, yellow, green, pink, blue, yellow. Green, this is blue, yellow. Not it. Tell you. Making any noise? Oh, it's only 3. Only 3 colors. Well, I had that entirely wrong. I thought it was 4. And also, that is another issue. You need the sound to know how many colors buttons you have to press. So if someone either is hearing impaired, deaf, or doesn't have speakers or headphones at the time when they're playing, there's no way for them to know how many buttons they need to push. Should be some kind of visual indicator as to how many you need. Like with these keypads, we can do it because we can just push buttons and it puts the digits there. This one doesn't give you any such feedback. So this right here would be just a total brick wall for a lot of people. We need 3 colors. Push this up here. There are 3 lights here. But these colors are not the same as these colors. They're not the same. And I'm still not even 100% sure if this is the right answer. Again, I brute forced it when I played this before, and I don't remember what the solution was. Lime green, pink, dark green. That looks right. Maybe this one? No idea. I don't even know if that's the answer. Is there anywhere else in the room? Let's see if we can solve it together. There's colors here. Not really in any disorder. Got the graffiti on the wall. No idea why the graffiti's here. By the way, why are we in this room? Whose room is this? Why are there puzzles here? No idea. The narrative has completely been abandoned at this point. We're just in random rooms solving puzzles. Which, again, is not inherently a bad thing. But since they started with a narrative and then lost it so quickly, a little bit sort of jarring. Got red here. Blue wall. I don't see anything other than this painting. Photo. These are clearly the wrong colors. Should have written down what the solution was when I found it before. If there's anyone in the chat who happens to see anything that looks like it could be the answer, or think you could decipher this? No. Maybe the first one meant to be yellow. Maybe the developer of the game is colorblind. You could try yellow, pink, green, maybe? Green? Blue? Oh. That. There is this here. A sort of smattering of colors on the table here, which again, to a colorblind player, not very helpful. Like yellow, red, blue. Tried that already. Oh, that's not it. I'm just completely stuck. So there's not that many buttons, and we can brute force it. Again, is what I had to do before. It's not very fun to brute force a puzzle like this, though. I think it was 3 different colors. Oh. We'll get there. Oh, there we go. So what was that? That was green, blue, red. Was it definitely not this? There. I've got no idea where that answer is supposed to come from. Outside the window, there's just more graffiti. Who's out there? Not a clue. Oh, hold on a second. There's some books on the table here. That one's green and blue. That bottom one does not look red to me. That looks brown. Presumably this will be the clue then. Not my favorite puzzle. That's not a good one. For all of the reasons that we've been over, that's just not a very well done puzzle. Okay, so we've got the gear we need for this. We can move these, and this is straightforwardly. Go, that was very easy. But again, that's a perfectly fine puzzle. It could have been made more difficult by having more gears and having more steps to it. But it's a perfectly solvable puzzle using the information we have. I'm fine with that. Now, why whoever lives in this place has a set of gears behind their painting, which opens a secret compartment in their radiator, is beyond me. But that's fine. We've abandoned the plot now, and we're just solving some puzzles. Got a paper here, and this again is one that could have been much better. So it says, for the attention of agents only. Again, why is it in here? The remote room code has been rotated. Use the following information to operate the exit to the room. If I am holding a bee, what do I have in my eye? This is literally a riddle. This is not a puzzle. This is not a logic puzzle. This is a riddle. This is not a new riddle. This is not an original riddle. So, first of all, the information you need to solve this is not present in the game. The information you need to solve this is a knowledge of English idioms, and potentially of riddles. If you've already heard this riddle, then you'll already know the answer. Any non-native English speaker playing this game is going to be completely flummoxed here. They're going to think there's some kind of logic puzzle that there isn't. And even I, when I saw this, was like, I'm pretty sure that this is a riddle. And I'm pretty sure I've seen this before, but I can't remember. So I literally just typed it in to DuckDuckGo, because I don't use Google, because I don't like to be spied on. And I just typed it, and the answer came up immediately. So if you don't want the riddle spoiled for you, I'm about to tell you the answer to the riddle. And it's a pun, which made me very angry. I'm just going to type the answer in here. I hate that. Hate that. Hate that a lot. That's my least favorite puzzle in the whole game. I'd rather the color puzzle 1,000 times over than a riddle. Please don't do this if you're making a game. Please don't take a riddle and put it in the game. I know it feels like a clever thing to put in there, and it feels good to solve a riddle on your own and stuff like that, but when you're playing an escape room game, it can't be a riddle because you have to be able to get all the information you need to solve it in the game. And you can't really do that with something like this. This requires someone to know the phrase beauty is in the eye of the beholder and have heard the pun joke. Beholder. Someone holding a bee. It's I don't like it. Let's move on. Into the void. Alright. I think this section will probably be the last one I do. This game is not very long. I think there may only be one section after this. And I don't want to spoil the whole thing in case anyone is intrigued and wants to get it. Wouldn't be fair to do the entirety of a game on a stream. Also, I'm having trouble with my wrist, as I mentioned at the start of the stream. As I so often am. And I want to take it easy, so we're not going to do my full 2 hours today. Also, I'm losing my voice because I'm talking a lot more than usual. So let's do our exploration. Come around here. Got these 9 pillars, which are here for absolutely no reason. Abandoned all semblance of logic and rationality. Just got 9 pillars here. They're difficult to walk around. And you have to get kind of close to interactable areas to see them. But we've got a switch here with a gear. That. Of course, in this back alley, these 9 pillars are hooked up to switches. We've just got a number 7 written on there. Switch here. This is just a question of spotting these walls, where they do blend in fairly well, because it is quite a drab place. Lighting and all this is so dark. Yeah, the aesthetic is not great. And these levers are hard to see. And again, I have good color vision, but to a colorblind player, this would be even harder to see, depending on their type of colorblind. And I feel like that's intentional. I feel like the idea is sort of spot the hidden object. Like you gotta see it. You gotta find these difficult to spot things in the dark wall. But it is not very accessible. Problem with that, right? Oh. That one, I didn't even see that one. I was looking right at it. Got just a mattress with boot prints on it. It's gracious. Another one. We don't know what these are for. But we see levers, we pull levers. Of course we do. Of course we do. Always. Got them all. There. And all of them. So we've got all these pillars down. Just go take a look at what we've got over here. Run button either. Most of the time that's not a big deal because these maps are not big. Walk across this. So we've got a grid, a 3x3 grid with some numbers on it. 4, 9, 6, 8, 5, 7. I have most of that written down here from the last time played, so we won't need to run back and forth. But there was more to interact with down at the other end of this alley. Got this here. Puzzle. Now, I have seen almost this exact puzzle in another escape room game not long ago. And this is a perfectly good logic puzzle. I'm actually a fan of this. A little bit of math involved, but it's very simple math. So you use your logic brain, and you think, all right, probably the most obvious thing that I can imagine is that across these rows here are adding up to the numbers that are listed here, right? So the only one that's filled in completely is 5. And we've got 2 of the same one and 1 that's different. There's 2 possibilities here. Either these are 1, this one is 3, or these are 2, and this one is 1. So 2, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we look through here, so if this is 2, then this is 1. Which would mean 2, We need 3 more. So solving this is actually a lot easier if I don't try to think about it. If I don't try to describe it out loud. One of these is gonna go here. One's gonna go here. One's gonna go here. This is 8. So if we've got 3 different numbers adding to 8, it's got to be what? 4, 3, and 1? Probably. Or it could be 5, 2, and 1. So, but we've got these are equals 5 and this equals 5. So one of these is 1 and one of these is 3. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's got to be one of these two. So let's say that the circle is 1. 2. Can't be this, because this way is 5 and this way is 5, right? But if these are both 1, these two can't both be 3. Then that means these are it's not that complicated. These are the same. There we go. It's not that difficult to figure out. It's just very hard to figure it out while you're trying to describe how you're figuring it out. In any case, since there's all I would say the biggest drawback of this one is that there are only 3 items to put here, which means it would almost be faster to brute force it and just randomly stick them down there rather than solve it with math. So if I were designing this puzzle, I would make a bigger grid with more solutions, just to make it kind of worth the effort. But otherwise, perfectly solid puzzle. No reason for it to be here. But again, we've stopped worrying about that. What do we got here? We got a new button with a missing texture on the back. That's your games, folks. Look for stuff like that. Fix it if you can. On this keypad here. So we got the 4. And digits. Of course, we have a fairly obvious bit of graffiti here in the door here. And it says 1, 2, 4, 3. And 3x3 grid. Pretty obviously, these very strange pillars over here. But I have written down already. Oh no, actually I didn't. Hold on. Oh goodness. Here. Actually, I'm missing one of them. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 7, 5. Probably that is our passcode. 7, 5. Take a stroll back over here. So I will say, because the clues are on opposite ends of this place, that's just a bit of an annoying decision since there's no run button. There's no way to move faster. You can have stuff far apart. That's not a bad thing at all, having people have to walk around and remember where stuff is. But you want to make sure that they can move fast enough it's not annoying to walk back and forth. 7, no, 3, 4, 7, 5. Yep. Go to the next area. Right. I'll do one more room. And oh goodness. I don't know if you can hear the sirens. It's outside. The place is very loud. Once more, we'll look around at our environment. Got a briefcase here. Pad, our key code. That's just only 0 through 4, and there's 5 digits. Okay. Code somewhere. Where is this place? Why are we here? Those. We can walk up these stairs. Oh, so we can walk up. So the developer does know how to make stairs walkable. They just made the decision. I know that there's no need to walk up the stairs outside, but it's just very jarring as a player when you walk up to a staircase and you can't go up it. There's something that I would say, take the time. I don't think it's terribly difficult to make it possible to walk up and down the stairs. Whatever code you used for these ones, copy paste to the ones outside, or just remove the stairs and don't have stairs there. So we've got a puzzle here. Got a hint here of a clock. Interesting. Just clicking these and they're kind of going back and forth. Something? Looks like it is, but it's not. Radioactive symbol there. This is, okay, now this, again, Again, this is something that you would try to catch in playtesting, and this does not impact the ability to solve the puzzles or play the game at all. It's just a little jarring that the texture for this, what I think is supposed to be like a puddle on the floor, is above the floor, actually. And it is very, very dark in here. I can only imagine that it's even darker for you folks watching on Twitch, because Twitch does compress stuff a bit. So, radioactive. Door is locked, shockingly. 41002. We do have a keypad here. And of course we have to try it, even we know it's not going to be... 41002. We did have something down at the bottom that required 5 digits. I do appreciate that 2 of them are zeros, so we won't have to turn the little dials. But that one is a little bit obvious. So my critique of this one is that it's not really much of a puzzle if the answer is just written on a wall. Really, all of this is a test of is walking up the stairs, noticing some numbers written on a wall, and walking down. It's not inherently a bad thing. However, if you're building a game like this and you're having that sort of solution to a puzzle, my suggestion would be that you want to have that mixed in with other information. So it's not the only number. For example, maybe there's other numbers written on the wall, and then you have another clue pointing you to which of the numbers is the correct one. Just like add another step to it, like that, and then it becomes an actual puzzle rather than just sort of a directions solving exercise. What have we got in here? Got a piece of paper. Inspection times. 1 p.m., 11 p.m., 9:30 p.m., 11 p.m. They're all p.m. So, got the clock symbol at the top there. I wish I had my cursor here so I could point to stuff. You guys know it. So, we had on the pipes, the next level, we had 4 dials, and there was a clock on it. Seems pretty obvious what the solution is going to be here. Now, I will say that for someone around my age, or depending on what country you're from, this might seem very simple. But there's a lot of people in the world today, especially younger folks, especially from US in my experience, and a couple of other places, who have never learned how to read an analog clock. And you would think, well, they should learn how to do it. Okay, that's a whole other conversation, but the vast majority of clocks these days are digital. So a lot of people have just never had to learn how to read an analog clock. So even though it might not seem like it at first glance, this puzzle also requires outside information to solve. It's not necessarily a bad puzzle or anything like that. I'm not saying that you can't do this. It's just something you want to try to keep that sort of stuff in mind. That what seems obvious to you will not always necessarily be obvious to players. So you always want to try to get as many different types of playtesters as you can before you release a game, just so that you can catch that sort of stuff and then decide whether, okay, maybe not everyone will know this at first glance, but they should be able to tell that this is times and that does a clock, and if they don't already know how to read an analog clock, they can look that up. That's on them. That's perfectly fine. But it's something that you just want to be aware of when you're making this type of stuff. Again, like the card suits and stuff earlier, that was a similar one. So anyway, I'm losing my voice like crazy. This will really have to be the last one. Allergies are extra bad. I was cleaning today, so a lot of dust got kicked up into the air. 1, 11, 9, 30, 11. I do know how to read an analog clock. 11, 9, 30, 11. 1 will be here. 11 will be there. 9:30 about there. Again, this is a very minor critique, but since we're picking apart all of the game design here, it's very sudden. You solve it, and then boop, you're out, and it shows something opening. A little bit of a transition would be good there, just to make it a little less jarring, or some kind of text prompt on the screen describing things, that sort of thing. So, now this is open. I did say this looks like something, and it turns out it was something, so that's actually great. The fact that there's a light here calls your attention to this little box, which is right at your eye level. You can't interact with it right away, but it does register itself in your memory when you go past it, and then when you come back down, and it is quite satisfying to be like, aha, I was right, there was something here. So that's really, really good. I like that. It's a good use of lighting in the game. Most of the lighting in here is not great, but this is a really, really good one. Well done. Oh god. To access level 41002, please enter the 4-digit number using the following information. And now we have to do math. Digit 1 is 1/4 digit 4. That should be 1/4 of digit 4. Normally that would be an extremely nitpicky thing, and I am an editor, so I do notice those little things. But since this is a math kind of thing, really want to be as absolutely clear as possible. So anything that requires very specific understanding of a text, make sure somebody proofreads that who has a really good understanding of sort of stuff. 1/4 of digit 4. Digit 2 is 6 times digit 1. That's perfect. Digit 3 is digit 2 plus 3. Now that's a little unclear. Is it digit 2 plus digit 3? Or is it just digit 2 plus the number 3? Report to higher command if these instructions become compromised. Well, they became compromised. Sucks to be you. So, first of all, let's check and see what do we have all the numbers 0 through 9 here? We do. Okay. Know that all of these are single digits. If digit 1 is 1/4 of digit 4, then that means digit 4 has to be either 4 or 8, right? So if digit 4 is 4, I'm sorry I can't put this up on the screen. I am writing this down. Feel free to write it down. Then digit 1 has to be 1. If the fourth digit is 8, then digit 1 has to be 2. So that's a start. Digit 2 is 6 times digit 1. Well, that tells us what it is. 6 times 2 would be 12, which can't be one digit. So it has to be 6. So we have 1, 6, something, 4. Digit 3 is digit 2 plus 3. It can't be plus digit 3, can it? Because that would make no sense whatsoever. So it has to be plus the number 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. The number is 1694. Great logic puzzle, even though I hate numbers. That is something that you can work out step by step. It has multiple steps that you have to do. There are 2 possibilities to start with, but then by following the clues, you narrow it down to one answer. Mwah. Love that. That's a perfect logic puzzle. Spectacular job. There is only one answer, and you can work it out using the information provided. No outside knowledge necessary, aside from the basic properties of single-digit numbers. 1, 6, 9. There you go. The void. So, I think I'm going to end it here. I think it's just so dingy. Good use of the light to call our attention to the door. I don't know why there are trash bags everywhere, but we've kind of already determined that this place doesn't make any sense. I am going to stop here so I don't spoil the whole game. There's not too much left. I think there's 2 or 3 rooms left. And also because I'm losing my voice. I've got a sore throat. It'll be a shorter stream. But that is first half to 2/3, I would say, of Vereda, or however it's meant to be pronounced. I don't know if that means anything. And there's my critique and analysis. So the biggest things that I would say to the developer of this game, if you watch this, or to any developer of any game, always take... didn't teleport till you walked in. Yeah, that could also be more consistent. It's the interface is a little clunky. I kind of am forgiving that because I think it is made by one person, and if you're making a game based on puzzles, I would rather that you spend your time on the puzzles than the interface. If you can do both, that's obviously better. But I tend to be more forgiving of clunky interfaces on this type of game because they're usually made by people who aren't specifically game developers, but are more people who make puzzles like me, but aren't really good at programming like me. Which is why I make my escape rooms in Minecraft, is you don't have to design the game, you just have to have a very basic understanding of command blocks in order to make puzzles. Then you can focus entirely on the puzzles and the narrative, which I like to intertwine. The biggest problem with this game is the accessibility, in particular for colorblindness. It's completely colorblind inaccessible. Any colorblind player would not be able to play it. And even the color clues are not as clear as they could be. If you're designing a game, you gotta take accessibility into account as much as you possibly can. Colorblindness being one of the most important ones in terms of number of players impacted. There are so many colorblind gamers. If for some reason you're making a game like this and you feel like you can't make it colorblind accessible, you don't have the resources, you don't have the time, you're building the whole game based around colors, there are always ways that you can adjust it, even just simply adding a symbol on top of each color rather than just relying on the color totally eliminates the problem. At the very bare minimum, make sure that it is clearly explained if your game is not colorblind accessible. Otherwise, you're going to have people buying in and refunding it or leaving bad reviews. If colorblind folks can't play the game, you got to tell them in advance so that they don't waste their time on it. But ideally, you want to make it accessible as much as possible. Always be careful of requiring outside information. If you're making a puzzle-based game, always make sure that everything you need to solve every puzzle is findable in the game. You can do it by adding books. You can do it by adding many different notes and stuff like that, having pictures on the wall, whatever you want to do. But you don't ever want a situation where somebody has to tab out and search for information to solve your puzzle. You gotta have it in there somewhere. Some of the puzzles in here have been great. Some of them have been less great. But I see potential in here, for sure. I would love... it is a very common thing with these sort of virtual escape room type games for the environments to be this sort of dingy. And again, I haven't tried to make anything in Unity or any other popular 3D game dev engines. I feel like this may be something that is easily made without having to go and get a bunch of resources or hire an artist or something. These dingy sort of textures are just easy to get. But I would love to see more games that just have a brighter, more pleasant environment to be in, because this it's not great for the old mental health, is it? in these trying times. Be walking around and everything's just filthy all the time. Also, less important, but worth noting, if you're going to try to have a narrative or a story over your game, which I absolutely encourage you to do, I think these games are way better when everything has a reason to be there. You can actually get immersed in the game if, there's like The Witness. Oh, yes, like The Witness. Oh, I love The Witness. I actually have been thinking of doing another... I played The Witness offline. I didn't stream or record it. I played it when Jar of Jam was playing it. He was streaming it, and he was slower than I wanted him to be. So I told him I was going to beat it before he did, and then I did. But that's a great game. That one's also not fully accessible, but at least they make it possible to beat the game without doing the inaccessible parts, so fair play to them for that. I've been thinking of maybe doing like a charity stream at some point where I would play through the entirety of The Witness, kind of try to do a little speed run and raise money for something. We'll see when I have time to organize that, but somebody get on me about that, because that's something I've wanted to do for a while, and I kind of keeps getting pushed to the back burner because I got too many projects on. But narrative, yeah. If you can weave a narrative into it, do that. It's awesome. If you can't, or if you feel like you don't have the time or the resources, or if the story just doesn't matter that much to you, you don't need a story. You can just have a series of abstract puzzles. You can literally just drop people in a lab or whatever and just say, the door's locked, good luck. I don't need a reason to be there. If you just want to make a series of puzzles, just go ahead and do that. You don't have to try to shoehorn a story in over your fun puzzles that you make. You can just have the puzzles in that. So don't be afraid of that. There's some great games that are really just abstract. Not quite escape room, but logic puzzle type games like... what's the name of it? What's the marble one I was obsessed with for ages, and then I beat it, and now I'm sad. Hold on a second. Can't believe I've forgotten the name of it. Just blanking. Words are hard. Begins with an F, with a V as well, doesn't it? Venonith, that's the one. Venonith is just a marble game. You're just a marble. You're in a world that feels like it has some kind of meaning, but it doesn't mean anything to you. There's no text, there's no story. It's just logic. Just solve it. Or, oh goodness. I'm truly just blanking on words right now. What's the other one that I love so much? Excuse me. I'm truly losing my voice. I should stop trying to play. Stop trying to speak. It's all going wrong, folks. It's all going wrong. Where are you? In my library. Apologies. I uninstalled it recently because I hadn't played it in a while. I made a video about it not that long ago. That was a little while ago. Manifold Garden, that's the one. Manifold Garden, totally abstract. No reason for anything to be the way it is just is. It's just a series of logical puzzles for you to solve. That's awesome. Don't feel like you need to put some kind of gritty story over it, especially not one that's set in such a kind of grimy, sad place. You don't have to. You can just make puzzles if you want. If you want to see an example of puzzles intertwined with story, there's also lots of great examples of that. And I have to plug my own little escape room in Minecraft, which is called the Cryo Lab. You can find it on Planet Minecraft. That's a very short one and a very imperfect one. There was a lot of learning experience there. I'm still working on the second one. It's, I'm going to say, 2/3 to 3/4 of the way done. It's probably going to be a little while till it's done, though, because I have too many projects. I've bitten off more than I could chew, my friends. I have too much on my plate, but stuff is coming soon. And yes, if you can intertwine a narrative and make it so that all of the puzzles have a reason to be where they are and all of the clues also have a reason to be where they are, awesome. Go for it. It's a lot more work, but it is, I think, worth it because you get a really nice result that people enjoy. But yeah, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to, and you don't have to try to shoehorn in story. You just have your puzzles. Puzzles are great. I love puzzles. Puzzles are wonderful. I'm gonna... Can I go back to the main menu? I can. Sure. I don't think this auto-saves, by the way. Does it? Oh, no, it does. Okay. Alright, my voice is almost completely lost. Thank you all so much for coming to my little stream. This will be on YouTube, so if you missed the beginning and you want to go watch it later, in a couple of days it'll be on my YouTube channel. I can. There's all my links. There's all of my stuff. Hopefully I'll be streaming again next Saturday. We shall see. I'm always announcing on Discord and stuff when I'm doing such things, so come hang out. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you, and bye.